Okay, so to my meches. Kvanis bar b'mamar kodem shetevel malam eteva eno shteha nogos. They're not two different sets of conduct by Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Tevel and Hagas Haydei Shliach. Nature is through a shliach. U'malam tevel and Hagas Haydei Hakadosh Baruch Hu ba'atzmo. V'chazam mechanim v'chilas elu midas adin midas arachim. It's mentioned in the last mimer. Zesh masirim b'chazal shlosh ma'aftechus b'yodah shel Hakadosh Baruch Hu v'lo nishlam tzuyat shliach. In Gemara Tanya says that three keys which are in hands of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, he never gave them to a shaliach. These are they. Maftech shel kshamim, the key of bringing rain. The maftech shel chaya, the key of birth. Maftech shel tchias hamesim, and the key of resurrecting the dead. So we know Eliyahu Navi was given two: the maftech of gshamim and the maftech of chaya. No, it was the other way around. Maftech of Shem Maftech Tchias Hameis. I don't remember exactly which ones it was given. I know it was given Maftech Shul Shami, he had to give it back because he wasn't allowed to have all three keys. He could only have two keys at a time. I don't remember which one he had besides Geshem, which came first, Chaya or Tchias Hameis. In any event, so what does it mean? Interesting idea that these things for rain and for birth and for resurrection require much more rachamim than other things. So this midas racham is called through Hakadosh Baruch Hu himself. So when Hakadosh Baruch Hu, after the chait of the ego, says, "I'm going to send malach lefanecha," he says, "Al tamerbo, don't rebel him, because he won't bear your sins." There's no concept of no say avon. Because Baruch Hu's no say avon special, right? He can uplift the scale, lift up the scale of sins, so it's not weighing down. But a malach can't do that. A malach can't be marked on anybody's sin. A malach can't be no say avon. A malach is on midas adin, right? So therefore, if malachim are in charge, then there's no say avon pesha. It doesn't exist in that level of shliach. So also midas adin. Midas adin ain't shum bitur klal. Midas adin, there is no foregoing, no looking over something, letting it go. It's one of the times it's bothering me. One second, let me just see who it was. Because he got wet. Yeah. So I'm going to these three. There's I'm looking here. And where does it say Leo took it? Next one is some Gimel. Somebody's on them out here. Has no good for Gimel. What is? No. Gimel and Aleph here. I'll see a couple Gimel. Yeah, this is where it is. Okay. Um. Uh. Vermelho teach me the connection could be given out. Vermelho teach me mitosh v'gilad. Chayshim okesam yad tal motor v'chomer. By Rachme idam babale klida the mitzvah. They gave him the key to raid. Become Basel, and he went and hid himself from Achov. So then afterwards, he went up to Tzorfas, and that's where there was he gave he was resurrected. It's like Elisha that he resurrected a child. So he gave him the key of Tchias HaMesim. So he wasn't here. I made a mistake before. He said the Kosh Baruch Hu said, you want the Maftech Tchias HaMesim, you have to give back the Maftech of the rain. Because it's not right for the Talmud to have two keys and the Rav to have only one key. So therefore, you have to give back the key of the rain when he wanted to get the key of the Tchias HaMesim, and then Kosh Baruch Hu said, okay, now that I have the key back, Lecher Alachov. So it's interesting because Eliyahu represents the Midas Hadin, right? Eliyahu Navi is the paramount Midas Hadin. That's why Chazal, sometimes draw a parallel between him and Pinchas, because Pinchas was also Kano Kines Kinas Hashem Tzvakos, Midas Hadin as well. So Eliyahu Navi gets this Maftech of Kshomim and uses it within. Not that it shouldn't rain. He turns off the key. So Kosh Baruch Hu says, and now he wants the key of Tchias HaMesim. Hashem says, you can't have two keys. Now, I'm not sure whether there's any shot whatsoever, but I guess what it's telling us is that the Kosh Baruch Hu says sometimes feels that din is necessary. And when that din is necessary, he will give over the anhag of these three things to either a malach or to Eliyahu Navi, that they should be done b'midas hadin. But since these are the three things which are essential for the world, so to speak, so therefore it's not possible that the midas hadin will be sholet in all three. It can only be sholet in one at a time. Okay? Something along those lines. So
we have it in Shemona Esrei. We have L'chayim Mason Baracham and Rabin.
Right. Good. So obviously, because Baruch Hu says when he was Mishateh, he joined together Midas Rachmin, Midas Hadin, when the world's created, so the world can't exist without Midas Rachmin, which has to be in 2 out of 3. That's, I guess, what the pshat is. Okay, so the Zamash Chazal Kupam Le'avonos, if you have a basket full of veros, Kulei Loichtam Gzardiam Ela Gezel. The one which the straw which breaks the camel's back for the Dora Mabel is the theft. The Rambam Parshas Nomination Mitzvah Muskelis. It's a logical mitzvah. Now, the Gezel mitzvah has seichel. The mitzvah shows seichel ain't shum biturim. It's interesting because what he's saying is that in religious law, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can say, okay, we'll let that go. But not in civil law, which is logical. Now, of course, civil law, which is logical, is enshrined also at some point in the Torah. But what we're saying is that this basic human relationships, which are based on which Shem Mitzvah are about, which are logical constructs, there's no such thing as midas harachamim by them, because they're not. They're completely logical. There's something which is religious. You can have rachamim because it's not logical. I mean, it has a reason, but it's not logical in the sense that it's an imperative. So it's an imperative. If you transgress an imperative, the world falls apart. Okay. So the seichel who mitzvah shel teva. And he explains that the seichel is a mitzvah of teva, the mitzvah which is natural. So if it's natural, it's by definition always to a shliach. So it's something which is, like he said, anything in the natural world, anything which is logical, can be done by a shliach. And so when a person violates something which is sichliistic, which is intellectually clear and obvious, he's immediately punished. Now, I don't think it's literally immediately, but it gets the punishment goes much quicker and much more midas adin. The zelgijus midas adin she'en bo shum viturim. There are no letting things slide. Vein bo inyam marichat. There's no such thing as we're going to be patient with you. So therefore, the avos were very, very meticulous in preserving things which the natural order demanded in all details. When he sent the gift to Esav, he arranged the gap between each of the flocks which he sent with such precision, as if he was measuring the square of a tefillin, which is supposed to be completely square. So the emes ein chiluk klav mitzvahs hatav the mitzvahs tefillin. It's amazing. I don't know if Rabbi Yerucham could say such a thing today. There is no difference between a mitzvah, which is a natural mitzvah, something which is nature compels you to do, as a tefillin. They're both Torah. Commotion with a mamar like Chazal say, you have to see Chasam Sha'av, the other two need to Rosh and Shabbanim Shevenim Mamar Kodem. We are Lama Krolabracious Sichasan. Why they call it Sicha, Yesh Shiluk Ben Bracious Torah, Biarno Shumishum the Din, Sheret to Tzibay Hashem. The Tumas Sheretz, which is the thing which is mentioned there as just being hinted at the Torah, that's a commandment of God. Because of the avos, who Mashal Yezer Amar Blit Tzibay Hashem is to do with the commandment of God. Evidently, that's even more essential. Like because derech eretz kamal Torah, right? In other words, teva has to be kept before you can start doing Torah. Person that's if you're a rationalist, it makes a lot of sense. You have to lead a logical lifestyle before you can approach the logical Torah. It's the foundation step. The close saver braces who achrak min hagei the sichus of us atzmon. Lead Tzibur Hashem without a command God, Enokim Sichasan. It's their talk. Sichasan, right? The what they came up with, because it was they extrapolated the entire Torah from logic. Of course, no difference in holiness. Remind me that the Shmiras Derech Eretz who talking to say for gracious. Keeping the derech eretz, which is the concept of celebration, mitzvahs, should be mitzvah. Mitzvah sheret, sh'ayidei tzibur Hashem. No difference. In other words, even though it's not from celebrations, we don't learn Taryag mitzvahs. There are only 1 or 2 mitzvahs in Breis, 3 mitzvahs in Breis, Puravu, Mila, and Gira Nosha. But all the rest of the Breishis is mitzvahs mitzvah seichel, how a person is supposed to conduct themselves in various different situations. So therefore, ufiza knows a lot of mitzvahs with Torah chadosha al kol tzad v'tzad. If you learn Breishis properly, you have a mitzvah on each and every step you do, which is shu shmiras v'kiyum derech eretz. Basically, we have and we don't have to distort anything. It's a great principle. In order to understand Chazal truthfully, you have to explain them al derech hapshat. Now, that's not talking about the stories in Chazal. It's talking about when Chazal give advice, or obviously stories in Chazal are metaphors, but when Chazal give advice, so we have to take them kipshutam. Many people, when they approach Chazal, they understand that there is no pshat. Everything has everything only understand the level of drash. Right? So he says, no, that's a mistake. So the proper explanation they never come to. Bobek was a Talmud Rebbe Yerucham, has a different variation on this theme, which he says that hashkafa is a bad thing. Says brings down the Chazal say kol hashkafa l'ra chutz mi'ashkif ma'od kol shechon mi'ashamayim. It's Rashi in Parshas Vayera, Vayashkiv al pnei stom. So he said Rabbi says hashkafa is taking your pre-existing perspective and imposing it upon the Torah. Right? I have hashkafa. I have a perspective. I'm not listening to what the Torah says. I'm putting my perspective in the Torah. So that is not what you're supposed to do. So that's what people say. When people start with an assumption that Chazal is not a derech hapshat, so then it's very easy to distort the Chazal, because then you take your own preconceived notion and put it into the Chazal. What you have to do is see what the Chazal is saying to you. And he says the place to start with that is pshat, what it says in the Gemara, not what you want it to say or what Yashkafa tells you it should say.
So we don't have dogma like other faiths.
Right.
They have dogma. We don't have that. So the Gemara says that in that time this and this cure worked for this and this disease. So it worked at that time, and nowadays it doesn't work. It's something different, whatever. We don't insist that that thing still works.
Right.
That would be dogma.
Right. So here he's talking about specifically about, let's see what. Here's what I should stop studying test. I'm Rabbi Lezer. Kol Adam L'Amal Nibra. Everybody's created for toil. Shemer Adam L'Amal Yulad. Person is born to toil. Any day L'Amal Pen Nibra. Is it for the toil with the mouth? L'Amal Malach Nibra, for the toil with the handiwork, with doing labor. Shomer Ki Akap Alai Piu. Plus again Eicha. He saddled my mouth. Mouth gets the saddle. Having a amal pen nibra. So the main amal, the main toil is the toil of the mouth. By that, and I don't know yet if it's for the toil of Torah or for the toil of conversation. Now, so Rabbi Yerucham was playing with this. He was going to say that Pip Shuto, Chazal say that there is a havmina, that it would be amal malach, right? It's just a chiddush that's amal peh. A pip shuto, there's a havmina that it will be amal sicha. It's a chiddush that's amal Torah, right? So Shuamer lo yamush, and says the Torah should not leave your mouth. Hemi amal amal Torah nibra. It was called the was created for 12 Torah. And I'm a rabbi kule gufe druptike. All bodies are vessels. Termed the zaki david druptike the raisa. That's for, or maybe it's a tool. And a person is lucky if the body is a vessel of Torah. Anybody looks at these things will say that they are astonishing and cryptic. So he's not sure in Torah. The purpose of the person is the toil of Torah, toil of malacha. If not for the pasuk which he found, he would have been justified in his eyes to say, the person created for the toil of malacha. Also, the Rosh of Rava says, right? In other words, it's a mila. Somebody, you can be a druptike the malacha too. It's a special mila, which you're in luck if you're able to get it, which is to be a druptike d'oraisa. So people sounds like being involved in halacha is also a purpose. Person's praise will leave his zeicha to a higher level of amal, amal Torah. Being a teva, shkam teva, ach v'rak utzorni yisborach. Anything embedded in creation is what's in Hashem. That's why we have to fill their eretz. Nimshagam malacha, she kiyum derech eretz, chashuva be'erka, ki kiyum Torah. Somebody who does malacha, the Shem Shemayim, of course, for the purpose of sustaining the world, it's on a par at least before the pasuk, with the toil of Torah. With them, Rabbi Elazar also shleimus shemaskadam aydei Torah, v'aydei derech eretz, masihu rak aydei amol shabahem. So by both of them, the advantage which a person reaches is only by toil. In Yaramol, what does it mean, toil? That person reaches the pitch of extreme exhaustion. To the point that he can't stand on his legs because he's out of strength. If you toil on both of them, then it causes sin to be forgotten. It basically means you don't have time to sin, and you don't have the energy to sin, right? So that is again when Rabbi Yerucham kipshuto. It's only by toil. We don't understand really what it means that it causes a bed to be forgotten. This word. Modedim measure marichim erkel shel Torah and estimate the value of Torah and how it's mishakeh. We wouldn't. That's not. We won't value Torah that in that way. Because relative to other advantages the Torah gives us, it's more valuable. Now, it makes you smart, makes you understanding, tells you what God wants from you, right? All those things. We think that those are greater ways, higher ways by which to evaluate the worth of Torah. Therefore, it's difficult for us to accept that Torah is good because it has this tremendous milah of its mishakech ovel. So we're astonished at these words of Chazal. I created the Yitzhar, but created the Torah to be its spice. So it's mesh kamash of Torah mechila of Torah. And all of its letters, the Gittin, the Muda, and all of the parameters of learning it, ha'iyun, deeper analysis, halim of a code, to learn it out loud, all these things about how to learn Torah. So in order to be a source for the Yitzhar. So if a person understands, toils to understand, he can understand that this madrega mashkachas oven is a tremendous madrega. And of course, if a person learns Torah and it finds it easy to sin, so obviously he's very, very distant from this unique advantage that Torah gives us mashkachas oven. The Torah is here to take us away from our virus. We don't have this concept that a mishkachas at all. They don't show we never forget this thing. And my mashashim topotami, we always are feeling around for it. Mishkachas means you forget about doing sins. When we have no moment, okay, obviously there are some moments, but there are almost no moments when a person is Mesiach Das Shakech Ovam Be'emes, to truly forget the sin. This is not a simple thing at all. Both of them. By toiling in both of them, you get that unique quality. Person distracts himself from a forgets it all again. The main thing is the toil. It's not the malacha, it's not the Torah, it's the toil. Toiling in something causes you to forget Averos. Immersion completely and to exhaustion in something cause you forget sin. There's Yerucham Adam Liros Michayav Yom Yomim. Person can see this every day. Shadam Boyef Yogem Mimlachto Kasha. When a person comes home from a hard day at work, there's no thoughts of sin in his mind. He's exhausted, wants to eat and sleep. We can't even imagine the holiness which is in work. The person gets by this comes abstains from sin. Even after revelation that a person is created for Amal Torah, if you want to reach perfection, then you need Torah. But in Hashishon Mamlach ain't a choshen klal. Ella Shazel began Mashma Rava Tove de Zake to have a duplicate of rice. Mushar Mishu Amalo Hu Amal Torah, but really Amal Malacha also is a tremendous thing. Ufia now, Nuchal bin Hodam Mutar Skani Mechukosai Telechu. Yachol Elo Mitzvos Uchue, Hare Mitzvos Amuros. It says Chusai Telechu, it's Mitzvosai Tishmoru, right? So Mechukosai can't mean mitzvahs because it says mitzvahs. Amayim B'chaim Mechukosai Telechu, Yos Amelim B'Torah. That's toiling in Torah. One regular Levin, Shekavanas Chazal, Lalim would be you. Means you have to learn in depth. That's Amal Torah. That's not true. To learn in depth is also part of the mitzvah. It's a new command. Cloud mixed minion, mitzvah Torah. It's not included in mitzvahs. The Kavanas Chazal kind of rock out Amal. Toiling. It's like toiling in work. I'm almost a malacha, the toil in the work. If you can be oyev yogeh from learning Bekias, oyev yogeh from learning Bekias. It's not shot to learn Be'ir, it's shot to learn to the point of exhaustion. Which is very, like the Gra, they say, of course, used to put his feet in water to keep up, to keep himself up. That would be the definition of Amal B'Tzor. That's the Torah that can be the sauce which it spices the Yetzer Hara the right way. I never saw a lion who was a porter, and a fox who's a storekeeper. So it's not fair. Why do I have to work? They don't have to work. I'll show us this Masai because I've been bad. Were we not to have been bad, we wouldn't need this toil of malacha. The garma zachet. It's only because there's a sin in the world. To prevent chet, the person has to be constantly omel. If it's not omel b'Torah, it's got to be omel malacha. Person sins only when it's not a state of toil. But he's toiling, he's preserving them. Like Chazal say, a lion doesn't roar if it's getting straw and to eat, hay to eat. And it's only as getting flesh to eat. In other words, when a person has excesses, that's when a person comes to roar, in other words, act inappropriately. And the truth is that this is really the curse of modern times to a certain extent, which is that we don't have to toil anymore, right? We have dishwashers to wash the dishes, right? Microwaves to warm up the food, and so on and so forth. So the idea of Amal is contrary to contemporary Western civilization. On the contrary, we want to remove as much Amal as possible from the picture. And that when you remove the Amal from the picture, you get a decadent society, a decadent one in which there is no, there's no shichas Avam. Avam is always there. Uborei kama gadol erko she'amar malacha. Be'ezim modori midu chazal kodesh. What level of chazal put it? Chabiba malacha yosem mischus avos. It's a medrash. Malacha is greater than, it's more precious than the mischus of avos. Sheskus avos hitzila mamon. The schus of the forefathers saves money. Umalacha hitzil nefashos. But work saves souls. Schus avos hitzil mamash nemar lei elokei avi. Kiata rekam shilachtani. Okay, in other words, Yaakov says to Lavan, not for Hashem's help, that Hashem's help because of my schus avos, you would have sent me without any possessions. Umalacha hitzil nefashos. Because later on, Yaakov says, afterwards, Yaakov says, all my toil in your house, because Baruch Hu saw, improved yesterday when he stopped you from pursuing me to do me harm. So, okay, that's again a very amazing chazal. We're saying that the toil of a person can save him from more than schus avos. Schus avos is passive, and malacha done properly is active. So it's much more significant. That's all. מסופר על ידי תלמידיו שהוא לא היה נוהג כאחר מבני דורו, שהוא מסככים עצמם מיעוט שינה. He didn't diminish him out to sleep when she slept. הגוסו היסוד שלומד משך מעץ לעץ ויוסר עד שנופל מתוך האבוס והגיע ונרדם. But he didn't every night sleep a minimal amount, but rather he learned straight until he dropped off because of sheer exhaustion. So I don't know how his schedule looked, but that is the Alma Batera. So we're for sheer exhaustion. I'm a call her much beyond account. The parish notion it's the venu yos amelin Batera. Okay, that's the placebo then with her. Gets better. Each mimer gets more and more deeper into the issue.
That's
okay,
beautiful.
It's good stuff. All right, so have a good week.
Yeah.
We'll have to share next week.
Yes, take care.
Okay.